Hi, so I did the food in Mongolia, and I learned a lot by doing this just because I saw the many different things that they use to efficiently cook and survive with their different climates depending on what it's like. So to start off with, they have gone through, or they always go through harsh winters and summers, but this allows them to create clever ways to overcome their disadvantages and to survive. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But one of the things that nomads use to be successful in surviving is the jewels of Mongolian cooking, which are known as the five snouts. So a lot of Mongolian cuisine comes from its great history and adaptations that they have used in their society, which gets passed down and passed down. A lot of it does relate to the very start of their society and like the way that Genghis Khan did, and you can still use that. They use some of the things just because it is so efficient in their way of living. Okay, so Genghis Khan, who is he? He was kind of just like the leader of his tribe, and he soon became the Great Khan, and kind of just overtook a lot of Mongolia and other parts. But he grew an army as soon as he began conquering from the Mongol homeland to the Caspian Sea, and he was pretty successful in that. A lot of him think of him as being a savage, but honestly, the things he did was the things he did for himself and his people, and he thought of it as being a good thing rather than a bad thing. Okay, so the five snouts. There's camels, yaks, horses, sheep, and goats. But the most respected out of all of them are the horses. And one of the main things is because when you think about their history and the way that Mongols conquered, a lot of what they have is obviously not by trains or buses or whatever, but it's definitely from the use of horses. So they just have a huge respect for them. But just because they have a huge respect for them doesn't mean that they are not eaten, actually, which is kind of crazy to think about, just because it is such a respected animal in their culture. But besides horses that they use in their diet and the other animals, what they don't use, they are used for their wool and also for a huge source of dairy. And the Mongols kind of just use a whole lot of dairy and meat just because that's basically all that they have to go off of. And even their mare's milk, which is a female horse, is they use that to make their beer, which is even crazy to think about because all they have to do is kind of ferment the milk, and then that's just a huge process. But they get beer out of that, which is really cool to think about. So, just one of their most popular dishes for Mongolians is their famous barbecue. And if you go to some places, you even know that has like come to here. But and it's not just like there's certain recipes. It's just really how they go by making and cooking and preparing all that. So the way that they do it is that they heat a huge fire under a large round solid iron griddle and let it reach to about 300 degrees. And then after they prepare all the meats with various seasonings, they allow it to cook on the hot iron. When the meat is decently cooked, they add vegetables and extra seasoning and allow it to cook. When it's done, they have a huge feast and enjoy among family and friends. So, in conclusion, just with the way of doing things, the animals that they use to eat, their way of cooking, the way that they even make their beer, you can just tell that they hold a deep culture. And if you think about them changing their ways of doing things, it's just really unlikely just because of the way that they have been doing things is the same way that they've been doing things for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the last thing that I want to leave off with, which I've already kind of talked about, is Genghis Khan. So is Genghis Khan a savage? I would say no to this just because the things that he did, like I've said, he did it for his people and he thought that this was the best for them. And so yeah, he did kill many people, but he did it for what he thought was a good thing.